The sinking of the RMS Titanic is one of the most iconic tragedies in modern history, a disaster that has captivated the imaginations of people around the world for over a century. The story of the Titanic is not merely about a shipwreck, it is a multifaceted narrative that touches on themes of human ambition, social stratification, technological advancement, and the fragility of life. The tragedy remains a potent symbol of the dangers of hubris and the unforeseen consequences of technological overconfidence. The Titanic was conceived at the dawn of the 20th century, a period characterized by rapid technological advancements and a strong belief in human progress. The ship was one of 3 Olympic-class ocean liners commissioned by the White Star Line, a British shipping company, to dominate the lucrative transatlantic passenger trade. Along with her sister ships, the RMS Olympic and the HMHS Britannic, the Titanic was designed to be the epitome of luxury, speed, and safety. Construction of the Titanic began in 1909 at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Ireland. The ship was a marvel of engineering, measuring 882 feet in length and weighing over 46,000 tons. She was equipped with the latest technology, including a sophisticated system of watertight compartments that were believed to make her unsinkable. This claim, widely publicized, would later contribute to the ship's tragic legacy. The Titanic was also a symbol of luxury. The ship's first-class accommodations were unrivaled in their opulence, featuring grand staircases, fine dining rooms, a swimming pool, a gymnasium, and even a squash court. Passengers in first class were treated to an experience that rivaled the finest hotels in the world. The ship also had second and third class accommodations, which, while less luxurious, were still considered superior to those on many other vessels of the time. The Titanic's maiden voyage began on April 10, 1912, when she set sail from Southampton, England, bound for New York City. On board were over 2,200 passengers and crew members, including some of the wealthiest and most influential people of the time, such as industrialist John Jacob Astor IV, businessman Benjamin Guggenheim, and Macy's department store owner Isidore Straus. The passenger list also included immigrants from Europe, eager to start new lives in America, and crew members who were responsible for the ship's operation. As the Titanic sailed across the Atlantic, she made stops at Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, Ireland, to pick up additional passengers. Despite the ship's reputation for luxury and safety, there were already signs of trouble. The Titanic was sailing through waters known to be hazardous due to icebergs, and although warnings had been received, the ship continued at high speed. The decision to maintain this speed would later be scrutinized in the aftermath of the disaster. Captain Edward Smith, an experienced mariner, was at the helm of the Titanic, and he, along with the ship's designers and the White Star Line management, believed that the ship's advanced technology and size would allow her to safely navigate any dangers. On the night of April 14, 1912, the Titanic was sailing under clear skies with calm seas. However, the ship was entering an area known to be rife with icebergs, and multiple warnings had been sent to the Titanic from other ships in the area. These warnings, unfortunately, were not fully heeded. At 11:40 p.m., the lookout Frederick Fleet spotted an iceberg directly in the ship's path. He immediately sounded the alarm, and First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to turn sharply to avoid the iceberg. Despite these efforts, the Titanic's starboard side scraped along the iceberg, creating a series of gashes below the waterline. The collision with the iceberg caused the Titanic's hull plates to buckle, allowing water to flood into the forward compartments. The ship's design, which included watertight bulkheads, was supposed to prevent flooding from spreading to other parts of the ship. However, the bulkheads did not extend high enough to contain the water, and as the forward compartments filled, the ship began to list and sink by the bow. At first, many passengers and crew were unaware of the severity of the situation. The ship's crew began to prepare the lifeboats, but there were not enough to accommodate everyone on board. The Titanic was equipped with only 20 lifeboats, which could hold about 1,178 people, less than half of those on board. This was a result of outdated maritime safety regulations that did not account for the large number of passengers on such a massive ship. As the reality of the situation became clear, panic set in. Women and children were given priority for the lifeboats, but even then, many boats were launched partially filled due to confusion and the belief that the ship was still unsinkable. The crew's lack of lifeboat drills and the passengers' unfamiliarity with evacuation procedures added to the chaos. As the Titanic's bow continued to sink, the ship's stern rose out of the water, creating a steep incline. The immense pressure caused the ship to break in two, with the bow sinking first and the stern following shortly after. The entire ship disappeared beneath the icy waters of the Atlantic at approximately 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, just 2 hours and 40 minutes after the initial collision. Of the 2,224 passengers and crew on board, only about 710 survived. The lifeboats, now adrift in the freezing waters, were faced with the agonizing reality that there were few survivors to rescue. The cries of those still in the water soon faded as hypothermia took its toll. The survivors were eventually rescued by the RMS Carpathia, which arrived on the scene around 4 a.m., 2 hours after the Titanic had sunk. The sinking of the Titanic shocked the world and led to widespread outrage, particularly over the inadequate number of lifeboats and the perceived arrogance of those who had claimed the ship was unsinkable. In the aftermath, inquiries were held in both the United States and the United Kingdom to investigate the disaster. These inquiries led to significant changes in maritime safety regulations, including the requirement for ships to carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew, the establishment of the International Ice Patrol to monitor iceberg activity in the North Atlantic, and the implementation of continuous radio watch on ships. The Titanic disaster also had a profound impact on popular culture, inspiring countless books, films, and documentaries. The story of the ship's tragic end, combined with the tales of heroism and sacrifice that emerged from the disaster, has ensured that the Titanic remains a symbol of human frailty and the dangers of overconfidence in technology. One of the most famous depictions of the Titanic story is the 1997 film Titanic, directed by James Cameron. The film, which became one of the highest-grossing movies of all time, brought the story to a new generation and highlighted the human drama of the disaster. The film's portrayal of the sinking, combined with its fictional love story, captivated audiences and reinforced the Titanic's place in the public imagination. The Titanic disaster also highlighted the stark class disparities of the early 20th century. The ship was a microcosm of society, with first-class passengers enjoying unparalleled luxury, while third-class passengers, many of whom were immigrants seeking a better life in America, were relegated to the lower decks with fewer amenities. The survival rates reflected these class divisions. A much higher percentage of first-class passengers survived compared to those in third class. This disparity was partly due to the physical layout of the ship, with first-class passengers located closer to the lifeboats and third-class passengers farther away. In addition, social norms of the time prioritized the safety of women and children, particularly those of higher social status. These factors combined to create a situation where the chances of survival were often determined by one's social class. The Titanic disaster thus became a symbol of the inequalities of the time, a poignant reminder that even in the face of disaster, social and economic divisions could dictate one's fate. This aspect of the Titanic story has been explored in numerous works of literature and film, adding another layer of tragedy to the already heart-wrenching tale. The story of the Titanic is one of the most enduring tragedies in modern history. It is a tale of human ambition and hubris, of technological marvels and their limitations, and of the profound loss of life. The Titanic's sinking serves as a reminder of the dangers of overconfidence and the need for humility in the face of nature's power. The disaster also had a lasting impact on maritime safety, leading to significant changes that have saved countless lives in the years since. However, beyond the technical lessons, the story of the Titanic resonates because of the human stories it encompasses: the bravery, the sacrifice, the love, and the loss. These stories ensure that the memory of the Titanic and those who perished with her will never be forgotten.